continue then with some reaction on the latest regarding the budget process, of course, following that ruling there in the Western Cape High Court. We do have with us Lawson Naidoo, the Executive Secretary of the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, joining us this evening. Lawson, good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. Your reaction to the ruling?
Good evening, Bongiwe, and thank you very much. It's a critical ruling that came out of the Western Cape High Court last night, because quite simply put, without that ruling from the court, the VAT hike would have proceeded on the 1st of May. Despite the minister's press statement last week and the commitment of all political parties or several political parties who are opposing the VAT hike, that has no legal effect whatsoever. There were only two avenues available for the VAT hike to be stopped. One was for Parliament to be able to pass legislation before the 1st of May, which is on Thursday this week, to undo the minister's announcement on the 12th of March, or secondly, for the court to issue the interdict that it did last night. And that interdict has the effect of stopping the VAT hike from proceeding on the 1st of May. But importantly, it has also set aside Parliament's adoption of the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. So it's very much back to the drawing board right now.
And Lawson, I've got two questions, right, that follow on that. The first one, Parliament says that the agreement to settle doesn't mean that the process for that led to the adoption of the fiscal framework was flawed. What's your take?
Well, I think the Parliament is trying to save face. I mean, there were two orders made by the Western Cape High Court last night. One was that Parliament's process was irregular and unlawful, that Parliament was required either to amend or accept the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. It did neither. It really sought to try and make recommendations or proposals that were not within the legal ambit of Parliament. And secondly, the court has now said that was unlawful. That's not a matter that's going to be debated in Part B of the application, which is really where the DA application comes in, which argues that the minister should not have the ability to impose an increase in tax, be it VAT or any other tax, without Parliament first approving it. And that's a matter that's still going to be debated and decided by the courts in due course.
So there's a bit of confusion now, Lawson, as to what happens now when it comes to the parliamentary processes. Do we see the minister going back or tabling the budget again, or what do we see, especially with regards to now the decision to set aside the adoption of the fiscal framework?
Well, the budget itself, Bongiwe, consists of various components. So it's the fiscal framework and the revenue proposals. It's the division of revenue bill, which is the allocation between the three levels of government. And thirdly, it's about the appropriations bill, which distributes or allocates funds to different functions of the state. All three of those are going to have to be reintroduced because with the fiscal framework having been set aside, the other two are dependent on an approved fiscal framework. So the legislation sets out a clear sequence of events that Parliament must first approve the fiscal framework. It then considers the division of revenue bill before it moves on to look at the appropriations bill. So it really is effectively a new budget or set of proposals that constitute the budget that the minister will now have to introduce in Parliament, and Parliament will have to act speedily to approve those should it meet the support of the majority of the National Assembly.
And how speedily could that be, Lawson? I ask this because you do have other parties who are now concerned that any reopening of any kind could lead to some kind of instability.
Well, fortunately, Bongiwe, the Public Finance Management Act says that if the necessary budget approvals are not done in time, government still continues to function on the basis of the previous year's budgetary allocations, and that can continue for up to 4 months. So there is some urgency, but there's no crisis at the moment because government can still continue to function. It can still continue to allocate resources according to last year's budget, and any changes that ultimately get approved by Parliament will take effect once those approvals are in place.
In about 20 seconds, Lawson, what lesson should be drawn from all of this?
Well, I think there are a huge number of lessons. I mean, obviously the coalition arrangement that we have now has complicated matters, but I think it's also an occasion for Parliament to reconsider how it processes money bills and budget-related proposals.
Lawson, appreciate your time as always. That's Lawson Naidoo, the Executive Secretary of the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution.